Facebook. Here we are again. We're on LinkedIn as well this week. So I've first official LinkedIn Live. So yeah, hopefully we'll get some stuff there. I've just seen the notification come through, so that's fantastic. So yeah, this is the Green Umbrella Live Lunch that we live stream every Thursday at 12 noon. We've been live streaming it on Facebook for quite a while now. Is this like episode 20, 21?
21.
Yeah, so this started off as a bit of a something just for us, and let's give our clients a bit of a window into our world. And yeah, we've just carried it on, and now we're getting guests on every other week. And this week we're joined by Charles Jones from. So how are we describing you? Is it Charles Jones, the photographer, or is it JPAD, or?
Oh, it's a tricky one, isn't it?
I
am Charles Jones from JPAD UK, and we're a photography company or a media company, basically.
And you are in a you have like a niche area, don't you?
Yeah, I do. So we specialize in event photography. So as you can imagine, really busy at the minute. But we do on-site print, so we take photos of all the activities going on at events and then make those photos available in print format on the day, so people can walk away with an everlasting memory.
Fantastic.
Can you tell that I've done that before?
You rehearsed that sales pitch, haven't you?
It was great. It was great. So obviously there's been a bit of a shift in your business in terms of you getting out to events. So you've been in your studio based in the very pretty village of Braunston in Northamptonshire, which is beautifully located next to the canal there.
Which canal is it though?
I don't know.
No, it's the Grand Union Canal. I don't mess it, sorry.
Gee, I'm glad
Ask her about marketing, not geography.
I can't be in it. I can't, I can't know all my stuff on everything. It's like I've got to pick my subjects. Geography wasn't on the list.
Emily's the in-house geography expert.
No, I'm not.
So to be fair, it's a beautiful place, and just as we were going live, you were about to share a story with us. So yeah, go ahead and do that because it's really cute.
So the every now and then we hear a lot of chirps in outside the studio because we've got a lock right next to us, and at the top of the lock there is a family of moorhens, and they've just had baby moorhens, and they use the lock flute as a little slide. So they come down without mum, and then they start crying because they can't find mum. So we then have to spend about half hour playing a game with them where we're getting the net and fishing them out and running them back up. But yeah, it's like a like picking the kids up for school. You've got to wait up there until mum comes and collects them. So you could be there all day. Oh yeah, without a doubt. But it's definitely kept me occupied during lockdown. Like kept me fit as well, like running up and down. It's great.
So you've been doing a few other things, because obviously, like the way lockdown affected your business, you had to sort of, you couldn't just, do nothing whilst you waited for the world to come back online. And I think you've tried a few different sort of tactics, haven't you, and to keep people engaged and remain part of the sort of the local business community. So yeah, let's talk about some of the stuff you've been doing to keep yourself out there.
It was quite difficult because I spent probably the first week going, oh, what am I going to do? Like my business has gone down the pan. I've lost my diary. But then instead of that, I jumped on to like all the networking events that I could, just interacting and staying present really with all the business community in the area. And like I was getting a continuous message from it saying like, help, don't sell. And I was like, yeah, I can't sell anything anyway because there's no events going on. So, but then I thought, how can I help? And like from doing the events and all that, we've got thousands of images. So the way that I helped was I got in touch with my like client base and my community by posting some of those photos across like our social media platforms, and yeah, just playing games like online with like the community, and just staying positive and trying to bring a positive vibe kind of thing. And then yeah, as soon as I think it was the 15th of June, we were allowed to open as a studio. So I'd got a lot of support from networking groups and local businesses, and to give back, I did like free family photo sessions, which you took part in, Christina.
I did. I've never been so awkward in my life.
We need to see those photos, Christina. I think I saw one actually that you posted, but I think that was the behind the scenes.
There's some really, really good ones, but basically, like, Charles was really professional. And it's like, okay, so, you know, so he's like saying to my daughter to, you know, right, you go here, mum does this and dad does that and that kind of stuff. And I was, you can imagine what I was like. Just
weren't having any of it.
I was just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I was made to be sensible in those situations.
Yeah. I also think, like, when I do the photo shoots as well, I turn it into a bit of like a fitness regime. And I think it was your other half. He was like, "Oh, this definitely ain't built for the age of me, is it?" And
you know, I do think it's like when you send out your information to people so that they can prepare and they know what, you know, what to do and all, you know, all that kind of stuff. You should warn women that, like, you know, forget the heels. It's like I got my lovely green boots on, and he was like, "Right, can you lie on the floor?" You get up, and I'm like, you know, and it's actually quite tricky, kind of going from ground level to stood up again when you're on like little heels. So
you did well, though. You did well.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think I said any horrendous swear words. I only used good ones.
Christina, you definitely need to do a show and tell with these photos. I'm curious now. So like, why were you lying on the floor?
Charles posted some on LinkedIn, I think, didn't you?
Yeah,
there are some out and about somewhere, but yeah. So, but yeah, I'll share one with you, Emily. You can see one of them.
Thanks.
And then they can put that in Slack.
And just my face superimposed on there. So, what's next for you, Charles? What's the obviously as events? You know, we don't know what's going to happen with events. We don't know how quickly stuff's going to get back to what it was like before. So, you know, from a marketing perspective, what kind of activities are you looking at the minute to kind of keep yourself active with your target market?
So at the minute, I'm literally picking up the phone and talking to event organisers, not just to introduce myself and see if I can help in any way, like if they're struggling with anything, because obviously a lot of people furloughed their staff and they're doing it all on their own, but they've got so much they need to do. And I'm just like, right, do you want any help? And in the end game, yeah, I'd like to partner with them and help them out with their events, but that's not my initial intention. I'm literally out there to help them. But then as well as that, it's sort of diversifying and trying new things. So I've been doing a lot of like visual marketing photography for people trying to update their websites, getting new like team headshots. I did one the other week for a window company that had, I think it was 15 members of staff, and obviously social distancing, I had to get a team photo of them. So that was quite tricky, but it was good fun. Like I did it in the end and they were quite happy. So yeah, it's just doing stuff like that and then staying visual on my social media and things. Mm-hmm. And I've learned how to blog as well during this time, which is great.
Christine will be happy about that.
I'm very happy, very, very happy.
Yeah.
No, blogging is so underrated though. People kind of think, oh, you know, oh, it's a blog. It's like, and I think sometimes people think it's old hat, but they just don't realize just how valuable it is.
No, without a doubt. Like because I rebuilt my website during this time as well, and I added a blog to it, and I've never used it, and it's great, like the engagement you get on it, and I didn't realize how much you actually get
What have
until
you
I
been
started doing
blogging
it.
about?
Just random stuff, like well, I've had it's just like
Loosely
photography.
related to your business, or just
Yeah, just
Favorite food.
yeah, a bit like photography tips, like how to improve like the use of your phone, basically, and what to look in, like for a wedding photographer, what to look at. Like you got the generic things, but it's like contracts and stuff like that, because I've had in the past a few weddings where they've come to me because their photographers let them down last minute, and there's no like contract in place. They haven't even thought about getting a contract, and yeah, they're done. And like, so it's just little behind the scenes sort of tips that you wouldn't think about. And yeah, the effects of global sport. We had a few guest bloggers as well. That was good. But,
and you guest blog for other people. We've got Paul watching, as
yeah.
usual on Thursday Stalker. So he says you guest blogged for him as well, which
Yeah.
so a thumbs up for that.
Yeah, hi Paul. Little name drop.
So Emily, I think you did you have a question around sort of how Charles might be using Instagram and stuff as well? We sort of chatted about earlier in the week.
Yes, I was just curious, obviously, which platform you use the most, which sort of platform is your favourite, and in particular, if you have sort of a specific strategy around Instagram and the type of things that you're posting on there, or if it's sort of like a showcase of your work and previous events that you've been to.
So I use, Instagram is the one that I use the most.
Yeah.
Strategy behind it is, it's a bit of everything really, like showcasing my work, but then being informative, like of where people can like find their photos when they're online, and if they've got any questions to get in touch, kind of thing. And then this is where like I was playing the games with the community. Like I did a mystery box, which I stupidly posted it at like 9 o'clock at night, and it kept me going for a good couple of hours because everyone was commenting, and I didn't realize how much it'd like take off, and people went crazy for it. And I'm like, that blimey, it's 11 o'clock, I've got to go to bed. Like I've got to get up in the morning. But no, it was good fun. And then doing stuff like that and posting all my offers and stuff, and I found like I was using all of them, like all of the platforms, but then Instagram had the best engagement, so I focused my time on that.
Yeah, I think sort of particularly for your type of business as well, obviously Instagram's a very visual platform, so I would have probably thought that would be the platform where you would get the most engagement, and obviously people like to look at photos, and that's basically what Instagram is. So yeah, that's cool. Also, I was going to say, because you put it on at 9 o'clock, didn't you? Well, for my Instagram, 9 o'clock's the prime time for me to be posting things. So that's probably a really good thing if it's the same for you, which is why you're up until 11.
It was good fun though. I had a lay-in the next day, so I was all right.
That's fine.
Do you have any sort of regular themes you use on Instagram in terms of the imagery that you're sharing on there?
So like predominantly I do cheerleading and dance photography, so my theme is pretty much around that, and I spread it out and try and even it out between the two, if that's what you meant.
So one of the things, maybe Emily, you could explain this strategy, because it's kind of one that you've taken ownership over for our clients with the 9 squares and then the 9 categories of content.
Oh yeah, I don't like it when you put me under pressure like this. I'll just put it out. Yes, so something that I do with Instagram with our clients is basically, as Christina just said, is I try to think of 9 topics or 9 different things that I could post around. So sort of as you were saying, I guess obviously you've got the dancing, you've got the cheerleading and the tips and blogs and things. Is that the way that you would work around it yourself? So would you think of different subjects in order to try and, I guess, as you said, sort of spread out the content a little bit, or do you just post something that you're doing at the time, or something that you think is going to get the most engagement?
So I do have like themed days.
Oh, okay.
So for instance, like a Tuesday would be a trick Tuesday, so I'd share one of the highlighted tricks that's happened, or like Sassy Saturday, because there's a lot of sass. There's a lot of sass. But yeah, that's always a good one.
Yeah.
How do we find you? We'll put all the links obviously onto the news feed, but how do people find you on Instagram? Is it Charles Jones Photography, or is it your company name?
No, it's actually JPAD Cheer.
JPAD Cheer. All right,
Yeah.
there you go. Anyone watching, JPAD Cheer is where we need to go. But yeah, we'll put the links in there.
Yeah, yeah. So we do. Yeah, I do that really, like the theme sort of days.
Okay, that's good. I like Sassy Saturday.
Oh, they are good fun. Like we got some brilliant ones. And then we got some of them that we do look at and we go, nah, we can't post that.
What, because it's too rude, or because
it's too sassy?
It's too sassy.
Yeah, it's like we want to have a laugh, but we don't want to go over the line, sort of thing, and and upset people. But
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, it can be quite amusing.
So Jane's very quiet today. Jane's like our in-house photographer, if you like.
Yeah, I don't know, go that far. I'm the one with the camera.
Jane, you like the editing apps, don't you, Jane?
Yeah, I do. I had a question actually for you about equipment, really. So when you're going to these events, presumably it's tricky to carry around sort of everything that you've got, really. So what are your sort of, I must have this with me, do you have reflectors and stuff like that? And what do you have to have when you're walking around? What can't you do without with?
Well, initially a camera.
Well, yeah.
So like the events that we have, we have to take a hell of a lot of equipment. So we do the action. So obviously with the action, it is your camera, your lenses, cleaning kit. What else is there? With the action, your camera and lenses is the main thing, and it's your camera bag. But then we have a studio, which Christina again has witnessed. It's got your lighting, your backdrop. I mean, our backdrop goes up to 8 meters wide.
Wow.
And then down 3, and then depth wise it's probably about 4 meters, so it's a big old thing. And then with that, so you got your lighting and all your tripod, and then our kiosks I built myself, which I was quite proud of. They're so they wheel into place, and then we've got all the computer screens on there, and then it's sales desk. So like it's normally a Luton size van that we have to take with us to all this. So
do you tend to do you tend to take tripods with you so when you're doing the cheerleading photography, or is it easier to not have that and you can just sort of move around and get different angles?
So with action, it's better to go freehand, because you can get different angles, and it's just the pace of it. Like the guys that come with me to photograph as well, they'll use a monopod, which is literally a single pole, for those that didn't know. That's purely to give their arms a rest, because we're sat there. Well, we could be there from one event we did this year. It started at 6 in the morning and we finished at 11 at night. So as you can imagine, their arms would be aching like crazy, because the performances, they can be like every 3 minutes. So it's full on. And
so do these bits of kit have like stabilizers in them?
What the camera is?
Yeah,
there is a lot of like stabilization built into them, but with the action, like photography wise, you use like a back button focus. So there's a little button behind that you turn on, and you as you're going along, you're literally focusing using your thumb. But stabilization is more for like videos.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, you often see people with GoPros and things like that having a gimbal, which is the kind of thing that stops you shaking. Yeah.
Yeah. See, we've there's a videographer that comes with me as well. He's got a gimbal, but again, you don't want to be holding that thing for too long because it's got his camera, a massive lens on it, and then it's got lights, audio. He's got a screen on it as well, and yeah, it's a good arm workout. To put it that way.
Maybe I should take it up.
Showing the guns off.
Oh yeah.
To be fair, that's something that I didn't really think about. I don't think about that, thinking that actually it's going to be really heavy because you have to carry it for such a long amount of time. Because I think I do have a Canon camera that I use very occasionally. I'm not very good with it, but when I do, obviously I'm only picking it up sort of for an hour or so, and it's absolutely fine. But you don't think, obviously, you guys literally carrying it for the whole day. I do imagine it does get really heavy and your arms ache and.
Oh yeah, it's good fun though. Like we enjoy it.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah. No, it can be, like, especially when you add all the if you've got a 70 to 200 for any camera fans in here, it's a big lens for those that didn't know. Yeah, that one's a killer. When you've got the little ones on, it's fine.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like all this stuff, obviously you should have some professional photography done for your business, especially when it comes to like your website imagery, that kind of stuff, professional video as well. But when it comes to your social stuff, actually, the more you can do yourself, that kind of in the moment, photography, the stuff you're taking on your mobile phone, that sort of stuff, it really does kind of help the authenticity of that particular social post. And you've said you've written a blog on the subject. So there must be some tips that you can just kind of reel off and share with us, the things that people tend not to know.
So it's like my biggest bugbear, and when I see social posts, is people that have got their phone and they've taken they're doing a post and they're taking it portrait, but you get a hell of a lot more if you turn it landscape, especially when it's a visual marketing, like, oh, we've just done this today. You see, like, they've cropped half of it out because they've not orientated their camera. And if you do it landscape, you get a lot more and you can crop in a lot better, I feel.
But isn't most of us consume the content portrait because we hold our phones like this, like that, hang on, like that, and scroll up and down. It's the back to front stream send.
Yeah,
so
but it's
probably portrait's better. That's
it depends on it depends on what you're getting. For example, if I was to get a picture of the canal, say, and I did it portrait, all I'd get is the canal when there's a hell of a lot more like interesting and things around it. So if you did it landscape, like with mine, you've got down here, we've got our buildings and all the old like architecture. But if I did portrait, I wouldn't get any of that in, or I'd only capture a slight section of it. It's just opening up the image, basically. And you can always edit it afterwards.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's something. Get more than one from one image as well, can't you? You can crop that bit out, then you can crop that middle bit out, and then there's a bit over there, and then you can zoom in on another bit. It just gives you options, doesn't it?
No, that's it. That's exactly it. Like we do it with our photos. Like nothing that we post isn't edited. So we've gone in, and there are some images that we will tap right into and use it multiple times with different sections of it. So like you can just get a hell of a lot more from doing it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good tip, because I think something that you're probably going to think this is ridiculous now, but something that I do sometimes is when I'm taking it portrait automatically, because obviously when I pick up my phone, I just automatically hold it like that anyway. And if I need to get something in, I just step back.
Yeah.
You said that. I may as well just turn it and I can do it. But
yeah,
so you were saying as well, weren't you, about that app that we were talking about last week, and that would work with the landscape photos, the one where you can cut it on Instagram and you can make it slide across.
Yeah,
Scroll, is it on SCRL or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one.
It was our tool of the week last week for the coaching club, or this week. Last email. Anyway,
have you given it away?
Are there any particular sort of photography apps that people can be using, Charles, that you think are sort of like, the best of the best?
There's one called Open Camera, which it basically it turns your phone into a DSLR camera, and you can actually adjust all the settings as if you've got, like, you're holding a Canon. So you can adjust your aperture and stuff exactly as you would with the knobbly bits on your camera. But it's brilliant because you can adjust in different lighting. Although your phones are set to do it automatically, you can get much more out of it if you go through Open Camera.
There's one called Halide as well. I don't know if you've used that. That's a similar sort of thing that gives you a lot more options.
What's that one, sorry?
Halide, it's called.
Oh no, I've not heard of that one.
There's a lot of people have recommended that one on sort of camera type forums. So I've given it a bit of a try, but not very much yet.
Ooh.
But
no,
it's
not heard of that.
It's like you said, there's so much more that your phone can do than just the automatic taking of photos that you do in the phone's camera app.
That's it. I mean, like, the technology in phones now is amazing. Like, that's our biggest competitor when we're at an event, is everyone with their phones. But yeah, there is so much more you can do with it by downloading simple apps. And it's crazy because, like, with Open Camera, I do a lot of filming with it because you can adjust, like, how many frames per second you have and things like that. And yeah, I definitely recommend that one. And then Instagram, have you ever used 9cut?
No.
Where you do a photo over 3 squares? Or
that's similar to the SDR.
Oh, that's what that one was that Jane was saying about. So you can sort of, it slides into, they join up. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. Sorry,
what's it called? 9cut?
Yeah, 9cut.
Oh, okay. I need to look at that one then. Write it down.
This is the thing. There's so many of these apps that you kind of get overwhelmed with. Like, you find one, you think, oh, okay, this is good, it works for me, and then actually there's another 2 or 3 that do the same thing, and you then sort of like swapping and changing between them, and I think it gets quite overwhelming for people when there's so many options.
Oh, without a doubt. Like, it's just what you've got to. It's user preference, I feel.
Yeah, completely. And I don't think people should be, rushing to switch what they're using either necessarily. If you're using an app, whether it's a photo editing app or, something else, actually, if it's working for you, just because something else is now available and seems to be the trending product. There you go, Emily. That one's for you. It doesn't mean you should swap. It's that stick with what you know and get into the full functionality of that before you kind of get pulled down another track, because it's we want to perfect and then improve, and I think this is the thing. Sometimes people kind of jump from one thing to the next and don't ever actually get to that point where they have been able to perfect what they're doing. And they've probably gone through this learning curve over and over again and not achieved anything better than they would have done with the first option. That's where we see a lot of people wasting time. That said, a slight segue into what is currently my favourite subject. So the whole TikTok and Reels thing. So Reels has now been released on Instagram. It was released yesterday to 50 countries, including the UK. And there's this whole kind of thing going on in the press with Trump trying to ban TikTok in the States and all that kind of stuff. So it's really interesting to see how people are going to basically adopt Reels, which is the TikTok equivalent, if you like, that's owned by Facebook. What do you think? Because you're quite a trendy guy and you're in a business that's very, very visual. So have you looked at, like, have you used TikTok? Have you looked at that type of content, even if you're not on the platform? Like, how do you see, like, can you see a way that you would incorporate that into your social strategy?
Yeah, so a lot of my audience are on TikTok. So I have looked at it, I have tried it, and I've failed miserably, because did you see when it first started taking off, did you know all the dances that they started doing? Did you see the one where they danced up the stairs?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, like it was like a little shuffle, and then they shuffled up the stairs, sort of thing. I tried that, face planted, and rolled back down the stairs. Like, and then like it put me off, and I was like, oh, I can't do that. So if anything, it'd be like, instead of me pushing my photography business, it'd be more like a you been framed kind of thing.
At least you can get £250.
Well, yeah, this is true. This is true. Yeah. But no, I am wanting to explore more into that, because yeah, it's a massive platform now, isn't it? And people are going crazy for it, especially my sort of target demographic.
Yeah, I mean, I think that bringing it into Instagram, so initially Reels was like a separate app, and then obviously they've really fast-tracked the development of it. I think they've really looked at the demographic of TikTok and then said, okay, well, we need to sell it as an Instagram product. The fact that they've put it in with your stories on Instagram, those younger Instagram users are, they're story addicts. They're putting it into a platform and into a space that is familiar to those users, where they've already got an audience there. So I think it's really exciting times in terms of, what's going to happen. Years and years ago, we went through this kind of like Facebook versus YouTube kind of, battle, if you like. Now, it's in my eyes, it's officially started, the Facebook versus TikTok battle. Reels is an Instagram product. It's being sold as an Instagram product. In my head, it belongs to Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay. So, at the end of the day, this is how I'm seeing it. And, it's so exciting what's going to happen now, because to use that functionality, we don't all suddenly have to start learning dance moves. There's going to be a load of other stuff that we can do. So, like, thinking about you and your blogs, showing off at the sort of, your tips and tricks and that kind of stuff that you can use. You might capture some video, do a screen capture of you using one of these, an app that you recommend. And actually, you can then use that as one of your Reels videos or TikTok videos, that kind of stuff. I've done a couple of things on TikTok that are just giving tips, and I've had the call outs appearing and that sort of stuff. Having the music in the background. It's feel good content. Even if you're delivering something that's actually quite boring, I think the functionality that's being offered, it means that you can create that content in a way where it just naturally feels really positive. And who doesn't want a backing track?
True.
A backing track's perfect for Sassy Saturday.
Oh, yes.
You could write one, Emily, like you did before.
I'm a talented woman.
I always find though, like, it's with myself, it's knowing what to do and like how to be consistent, and like having the ideas and stuff. And then like with TikTok, a lot of it was obviously trending stuff, wasn't it? And it's like, yeah, do you want to jump on the bandwagon, or do you want to be original?
Yeah, I think sometimes it's like it's easy. Yeah, I think sometimes it's easier to jump on the bandwagon, maybe to get into it, possibly. But then me saying that, I haven't done any TikTok videos because I'd probably fall down the stairs or something like you did. But I think that, yeah, maybe it's a good way to start. And then you can try and think of, I don't know, what do you think, Christina?
I think it is about figuring out what what you want to represent. So it's always got to come back to your strategy and what you're trying to promote and what perception you're trying to create. If I started jumping into all the challenges and that kind of stuff, it would just be really like people would wonder what happened to me. It just doesn't fit with the person you meet at events and, that kind of stuff. Whereas actually me being overexcited over a bit of social media news, people would just go, oh, yeah, that's, it's Christina again. So it is about kind of owning those moments and building that in so it becomes a regular thing with your strategy. I think as well, it's about really tapping into your target client and understanding what they need from you.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's not about what you want to give them. It's about what they actually want and what they actually need. More often at the minute, I'm talking about what our target clients need because nobody knows what they want right now. Nobody understands what it is, because they don't know what they want. There's like too much confusion. Actually, we need to be the ones to tell them what it is they need. Okay, so, maybe it's someone that can't afford your, whether you're a photographer or a social media agency, you'll have target clients that they can't afford what you're selling right now, but they still need to be ticking that box essentially. Your clients still need to be taking photos and the cheerleading troops that you're working with. TikTok's just announced that they've got their first data center in Europe. I'm so tuned into TikTok at the minute. There you go. Sorry, I should have turned that off. I
think they've expedited that as a result of Reels.
Oh, this is what I'm saying. It's so exciting. What's going to happen? So exciting. And there's other things going on as well that kind of more GDPR related that I won't go into now because I haven't read enough to understand it myself. That's why I don't want to talk about that bit. But yeah, like I said, you've got clients that can't afford what it is you're providing at the minute, but they still need to have that thing facilitated. So if we can tell them what they need as a stopgap and educate them in that way, when it gets to the point where they have got the money, where they can afford to do this stuff, they're not going to be hitting Google. They're going to go back to their emails and reply to that information you sent them, or they're going to drop you a message on LinkedIn or through Instagram or whatever it might be. But it's that front of mind stuff. You talked about ringing people, okay, and I think it was last week we were talking about the voice notes on WhatsApp. I've been talking with someone the last couple of weeks, and they're suggesting people send videos through LinkedIn to do outreach, and if you don't get a response, then follow up with a voice note. For me personally, I'm getting better responses from voice notes than videos, but I think it's because people are probably sick of seeing me on videos and Zoom calls and that kind of. It's like, oh, it's Christina with that giraffe and the green background again. So I need to switch some banners around or something, change some stuff up.
Yeah.
But it is that it's anything and everything you can do to stay front of mind. And the more we can give right now, the more it's going to come back to us.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Like I completely agree with that, because like with the whole lockdown and not having anything, I got given a lot of support, and through the photo shoot, that's what I wanted to give back. And it was great. Like I loved it, and I didn't ask these people for it. They were just willing to, and yeah, it just made it amazing. And then I was sat there a bit twiddling my thumbs, like, oh, what do I do to give it back?
I think when you're able to access that kind of support, it makes a massive difference to your mindset as well. It's actually it's really difficult asking for help. We had someone join us a couple of weeks ago that she's got a project at the minute, and it's all a sort of mental health in the workplace. She's working specifically within recruitment, but we were talking about, men accessing support and, just asking for general help, not even, help in a crisis situation in the middle of a pandemic. And sometimes it's not even about asking either. It's actually being open to the help coming your way and open, recognizing that support when it comes and accepting it.
Yeah.
we're both part of a, fantastic community. Paul, who's been a guest on the show, and he's here dropping some comments and stuff on Facebook for us. The business community is a local networking organisation. But it's not about networking. It's about business owners supporting each other. And I think you really are an example of actually how a community can come together and make sure that everyone's okay. And the fact that that's gone full circle, and that you've been able to do stuff to kind of, what you've been able to take out that community, you've put in equal measure. And I think it is really, really powerful, really powerful.
Oh, without a doubt.
There's a lot of business owners out there that have not got that support.
And that's what I wanted to do. Like when I did like the stories and that on Instagram, and it was just to say like, I'm here, like I don't want anything, I just want to give you support if you need it. If you need an ear to sort of rant at, then go for it. And like, I did get it and yeah, it was nice. Like I did all the photos and stuff, and then I went quiet for a week because I just had a week to myself trying to recoup and that. And during that week I had loads of messages asking like, when am I posting photos and all this sort of stuff. So that was quite nice. And yeah, it was nice to hear as well that I posted a photo and it boosted some of the athletes' like morale, because they just hit rock bottom. They couldn't do what they love doing, and I posted a photo of them and their team, and then all of a sudden they're buzzing, and it's like, oh, that's amazing. Like, who would have thought a simple photo could do that?
Yeah.
Like,
I think because you always say, Christina, don't you, that you were sort of, your concern through the pandemic were the businesses that did sort of think, oh, well, I can't work at the moment, so I'm just going to kind of hide away and wait for everything to pick up again. But actually what you've done, Charles, is sort of the complete opposite to that. You've sort of constantly stayed in the public eye. You've constantly offered help. You've constantly sort of, like you said, been sharing photos of the athletes and things like that, which is, so when sort of things event-wise do eventually pick up, you're hopefully going to be front of mind to them. So they're going to be coming straight to you. And I think that's the perfect way, in my opinion, I think it's Christina's opinion too, to sort of to have handled the whole situation, really. So I think it's really good that you've done that.
oh, thank you. But no, it is true though, because you are going to see, obviously, people are popping up now that you haven't seen since March.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, no, sorry.
Yeah, where have you been?
Yeah.
Who
are you again?
And this is what I was saying to people back then. If you'd shut down, when you come back up again, people are like, oh, didn't realise you were still here, which is actually not a very positive message.
No. We've got short-term memories as consumers as well, really, haven't we? Because there's so much content and noise out there. So you're doing something different, and giving back is definitely a way of staying in people's psyche.
Yeah,
I think so, definitely.
Yeah.
Right, have we got any more questions for Charles? Or Charles, have you got any questions for us? Ask Mark a question. He likes to talk.
No, I'm just here to be top right, and that's it. No, I mean, the only thing I was actually going to ask Charles is when you're doing a more sort of marketing, like you mentioned about website photography and product photography and that sort of thing, what do you need as a brief for that kind of thing? Because I know that, sometimes we struggle to get a decent brief out of clients for sort of design or things like that, where you're trying to tease every last little bit of information out of them, but then you think you've got it down to a T, and then they're like, oh no, that's not what I want. And it's like, so how do you try and get around that with obviously photography when you've got a one shot at it, basically?
So it's where like your creativity comes into play. So I'd approach a client, ask for their vision, see what they want to get out of it, and then I'd give my input with like a few ideas and get creative, use an artistic sort of mind towards it. And I suppose that's where experience comes from on my behalf, because you're putting the trust in it. So I've got to try and get that vision in my head.
Yeah.
but then jazz it up. But then it's also I asked to talk to the web developer, because it may not work with what they've got in their head. So it's trying to get all those sort of three minds together: myself, the client, and the web developer.
Yeah.
And yes.
Yeah. No, I think that's the key sometimes, is clients, do things a little bit disparately. They'll go and do one thing, they'll go and do another, and then nothing actually comes back to meet in the middle. So yeah, that's obviously a good thing that you're talking to the developers and designers and things.
Yeah, and it's other people's opinion as well.
Yeah.
Not just you've got the client, they want this website, it's going to be absolutely amazing, but they've got a team around them. Have they spoken to their team and had their input? And yeah, they can completely ignore it, but I always think it's great to get other people's input to make it succeed, because there's no point putting something dull on your website because you're not going to get attraction from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We need some of our own photos doing at some point, I think.
Don't wear heels this time, Christina.
No.
Yeah, it's gonna be
some of those socially distant team
it's that
photos.
It's that, or we have to have photos where no one has to roll around on the floor. That's the other option.
That sounds interesting.
I don't want to do that kind of photo shoot.
I'm just gonna have my photo taken. That's all I was expecting.
You need to make it event, Christina.
It's all
the
these
creativity
activities he's been working with. He thinks everyone can do that stuff. Or then just stop yourself just in time. Fab. Cool. Well, we'll wrap things up there. Thanks, Charles, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Shared some really cool stuff there, and really looking forward to sort of seeing your work and seeing you get busier and busier and busier, because we know the stuff that you've been doing and the stuff you've been putting out there is going to bring you some fantastic results. I think Amanda has already put, did you pop the link in the comments, Amanda, already on Facebook?
I haven't. I didn't want to distract myself too much, even though I did dip out briefly. Apologies for that. But yes, I will do.
Excellent. Yeah, and on LinkedIn, I'll make sure I add a link to your profile as well, Charles, so people can connect with you there if they would like to.
No, thank you very much.
No worries. Absolute pleasure. See everyone next week, Thursday at 12 noon. We will be live on Facebook and on LinkedIn, so you can join us on your poison of choice. It's just going to be us next week, and we'll be talking about all the latest updates from the last couple of weeks, and I'll try not to talk about TikTok too much during that show. Bye, everyone. I'll see you all soon.
Bye.
Bye.